gals and guys, this is Josh and you're watching Guitars Ruin Lives. And I have so much to talk about. I'm going to try to be concise, and y'all know how that normally goes. This is my dog Sam. He's walking in the room. He's got like this. Alright, I got to show you. It's very cute. Very cute. Sam is almost 11. He had this amazing Tupperware in his mouth that just until a half an hour ago was filled with delicious food that my amazing girlfriend made for me. Her name is Holly. She's amazing. She's the best. Guitars ruin lives. What am I talking about? So this video is on two things. One is, what's guitars ruin lives? The fuck am I trying to do here? Two is on why you must commit to one or two or three, shouldn't be more than 4 guitars, but hopefully 1 or 3 or 2. Those two things. So I'm trying to be, I try to be funny and on in these videos, and that's very real. That's a very real aspect of myself. But that's not 100% real. I also talk loud because I'm talking to my camera and my phone, and because I don't have a professional audio setup. I don't have a professional light setup, which is why I got these big old reflections in my anti-glare lenses. If you need glasses, I can get you glasses. Yeah, so let's be a little more real here for a minute. So what is Guitars Ruin Lives? So about 5 years ago, I got divorced. Real talk. I got separated, and a little over 5 years ago, I got divorced. And I moved from the house I've been living in with my wife, so-called, into a house that my parents bought that I was renting from them, that I am now back in today. Very happy to be here. It's a beautiful place. Germantown, North Carolina. If you're ever passing through, you let me know. I'll host you for some coffee or some shit. So I moved out here, and I did not realize how much that having this person in my life who was not made to be in my life was really holding me back. And that's not to woman shame or some bullshit sexist bullshit. It was just a fact of two human beings that really weren't made to be together. And so I was really holding back on my creativity in a lot of ways. And one of those was in video, in talking to the world. Everything that I did that leaned into my musicianship was taking away from that relationship. I know I'm not the first person to go through this. Again, it's not her fault. It's my fault, if anyone's, for not breaking something off sooner when I knew on some level that it wasn't right for me. In any event, once we were divorced, once we were apart, and the other huge thing was I got a smartphone, which meant that I had a camera, which meant that I had a decent microphone, and that I didn't need a bunch of shit set up to make anything happen, because I'm really bad at that, if you haven't noticed. My creativity was really cut loose. So I started making videos for the internet under the Joshua Shelton Music Maker. That wasn't the term. Joshua Shelton Plays. So I made my Instagram Joshua Shelton Plays because I didn't know what Instagram was for. I just knew that it seemed stupid and that it seemed like I needed to have one. And then eventually my friend Dusty Waring, I'm proud to call him a friend. Dusty is Paul Reed Smith, more than endorsed. He has a Paul Reed Smith model. Dusty Waring, between the Buried and me, he's the one that told me your handle should be Guitars Ruin Lives. It should be called Guitars Ruin Lives. I don't even know where Guitars Ruin Lives started because it wasn't the Instagram, because it was a notion out there before I made the Instagram, which was, or at least contemporaneous with when I had the Joshua Shelton Plays Instagram, and then he said, well, that should be it. And I said, okay, cool. So what is it about? I thought it was funny because it's a whole drug reference, right? Say no, just say no. Marijuana ruins lives, So it's I've seen guitars ruin a lot more lives, change irrevocably, lead a life in a direction that's not particularly socially championed. I've seen guitars ruin a lot more lives than I have marijuana. And so I thought that was funny, but I also thought it drew attention. Of course, I thought it was memorable and good. I thought it was good branding, and I still think it's great branding. Way to go, Josh Shelton, for the idea. That's me, by the way, if you didn't know. And and it just started developing, and all I did was what I wanted to do. I loved DiMarzio pickups. I loved pickups. I didn't even think DiMarzio pickups were better than Seymour Duncan. I just knew that I felt closer to DiMarzio than I felt to Seymour Duncan. Seymour feels so establishment, and DiMarzio doesn't feel anti-establishment. It just feels different than the establishment. I'm sure they're both excellent products. It doesn't matter. You know, it's just whatever you feel a connection to. Also, I'm wearing these glasses right now because they're Radical. Teo out of Belgium makes these. And I have a Righteous, like a bug bite or some shit. Looks like is it. Turns out it's probably not here. And these just land in the right spot. So again, if you need glasses, I know where to get them. So, Guitars Ruin Lives, I start making videos. I'm making pickup demos. And then this dude from Sin Pickups, I think his name's Chris. He sort of dropped off the map. But Chris is like, yo, would you demo my pickups? And I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm living out here. I'm barely working, you know. My parents are cutting me a deal on rent, and I was working as a preschool music teacher and as a guitar teacher. You know, the other thing that happened was I got fucking let go from my job, which was for financial reasons. But by the way, any of you, if you've ever been let go for financial reasons, it means that they wanted to get rid of you. You just weren't bad enough for them to feel good about firing you. That's what that means, just so you know. And so I was going through a bunch of shit, getting divorced and going crazy and dating this person and just having a big time and not having a good time in a lot of ways. And I was sort of lost, but I knew that I liked making these videos and trying to develop for myself some kind of skill set around working on guitars and like what the fuck is a guitar made of and what makes one good, and especially when it comes to electronics, like that's some mystery. God almighty, that guitar is so beautiful. This is my 2017 May 2017 one-off. I take great pleasure in reminding people it's a one-off because it would normally have a natural binding, and instead this one has a drip edge. McCarty 594, and yes, of course, Paul Reed Smith signed that shit. Man, I've been looking over here the whole time. The camera's over here. Damn it, I'm gonna have to re-record all this. Just kidding, never do that. It's a waste of time. So, I'm making videos and I'm making pickup demos and I'm making videos about BC Rich guitars. Also, I had all my preschoolers play my Bone White BC Rich Virgin. Of course, I didn't tell them it was called a Virgin, and I told them it was made out of real dinosaur bone. Of course, they knew that wasn't true, but I really made them think that I believed it, which was really entertaining. And probably the best thing that ever happened to any of those preschoolers in that school was when they got to touch a whammy bar and make it go, you know, good times. So what's Guitars Ruin Lives today? I'm gonna like skip everything in the middle and just say, so of course I got the presence on Instagram. Now I got the TikTok because Gary Vee told me to. Who's Gary Vee? Look him up, you should know. He will help you. Got my damn YouTube, got my damn LinkedIn, got all the stuff going on with the Guitars Ruin Lives, and I've made a turn slightly wherein I've leaned into the mental health aspect of musicianship and guitars, because you know what? Guitar players are a messed up lot of individuals. Isn't that right, Sam? That's right. I wish they could see how damn cute you are. I'd get another view on this video. You know, not guitar players, musicians, you know, we're troubled people. A lot of the reasons we reach for music in the first place is because we're troubled. We're not troubled because of music. We reach for music because we're troubled and we need healing and community. And then you reach for that on some level, and of course you want to be cool. You know, a lot of the good things we come to in life, we don't come to for the right reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we come to be healed, we come for community, we come for expression, we come to look cool, we come for social status, we come to music for whatever reason we come to it. And then there's free beer, you know, and there's like girls, but there's really not, but there's just the promise of that. I don't know who promised me that, but I really felt like I was promised that. And then you have like, you know, no social skills or whatever your deal is as a guitar player. And Sammy, what is so wrong, buddy? What's wrong? He's just really upset. He does not want me making videos and playing guitar. He just wants to hang out with me. So yeah, there's just all these things that come together in guitar playing. For me, you could be a cellist or a singer or whatever, and the issues are the same, I'm sure. You could be a painter. So Guitars Ruin Lives is bigger than guitars, but guitars is my touchstone for music and for these issues. And so today, Guitars Ruin Lives as of today, this morning, when I made my Facebook group, Guitars Ruin Lives, for the community of like-minded people who know a thing or two about what Guitars Ruin Lives means. We're leaning into mental health. And as I said in the Facebook group today, if mental health is too mushy or like snowflakey or of a term for you, just think how your life is going, how you feel about yourself, your mood, your confidence, all those things that make up our life from day to day. We now put in this, umbrella of mental health, and I think it's a good thing that we're talking about it. So, cheers to anybody who's watching this. Thank you so much for engaging. I think the whole, why you must commit to one guitar is kind of another video, but of course, I'm going to tell you the reason that's true and the reason it's not true right quick. One is scale length. Scale length is a big fucking deal. So scale length is how long the neck is. What it means is how big the frets are and how it feels. I can't get used to two guitars. I've been playing my Blazer a lot lately. I'll show it to you. It is absolutely as good of a guitar as this McCarty, and that is no exaggeration at all. I paid $325 for this 1981 Blazer. I overpaid for it in this market. I just knew that I wanted it and that it was in good condition. This 1981 Blazer I overpaid $325 for is absolutely, no question, unequivocally as good of an instrument, certainly not worse in any way than this $3,000 plus Paul Reed Smith McCarty. It's just a different time, a different market, a different supply and demand situation. Therefore, it costs a lot less. I've been playing this guitar a lot lately, and back to the scale length conversation, 25.5 inches is a huge difference from 24.594, basically 24.75 Gibson scale. Fender scale, Gibson scale feel totally different. The frets are way bigger down here. It's really not easy for me to get around on this because I grew up and learned on a Gibson SG Special, which of course is Gibson scale. But now I'm kind of liking the bigger scale. I'm not a short guy. I'm 6 foot tall, and I've got not huge but not tiny hands. And so this feels kind of tight when I get up here. Where's it? Forgot about the delay pedal because I never put that thing on. So that's the first reason why you must, that's not true, get used to one guitar. Of course it's not true, but that's the reason, is scale length really matters. So that's why one of the reasons a lot of people end up being Gibson guys or Fender guys or Paul Reed Smith guys. Now, people who are all about the tone more so than doing a bunch of fast, crazy stuff can probably get around different ones better, but the people who are really synonymous with an instrument, they've really gotten to know it. As I would like to say friend, that's too strong of a word, but my acquaintance Bosco France, Paul Reed Smith artist, says Paganini didn't have two violins. Now Paganini probably did have two violins, but you know what he's saying is he got used to one fiddle, he got used to one axe, he really got used to it, got close to it. And that brings me to my conclusion, which is I personally, I love all these guitars. I don't even have that many now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electric guitars. It's not a lot to somebody who at one point owned 13, and over the course of my life has owned at least, super conservative estimate, 50 electric guitars is probably closer to 80 or 90. The thing that I want to get back to is the feeling when I had only ever owned my Gibson SG Special, and I didn't know that the setup wasn't good. I didn't know that, well, if you got this guitar, then you might be able to do this. I didn't know that you should really upgrade those pickups. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that this was my guitar. This was my guitar. That's what I bought this 594 to be. I know that I'll never get back to that place of pure renaissance because I know too much now about all the different things different guitars can do. But this guitar is my guitar more than any others. This is the one I grab in the fire. I grab this one, and I grab this one. By the way, if you can only grab one, you grab the 1953 Gibson J45 that's been beaten to heaven, to hell, and back to earth, which is what this guitar is. So, guitars ruin lives. It's a national fact. I want you to tell me how it's ruined. That means irrevocably changed the trajectory of. To ruin, in my world, is to irrevocably irreversibly change the trajectory of. Tell me how guitars have ruined your life for better or for worse. It's usually both, but on the whole, net, it's better. My life is way better. Almost every meaningful connection in my life has come from music, including the fact that I exist because my parents met in music school at Wake Forest, playing music while they were both engaged to people who weren't each other, and they got together. So I owe my very existence to music. I'm quite grateful to it and to the instruments that make it possible. And here comes the last big point of Guitars Ruin Lives, which is we're all hung up on gear. Of course we love it. We have the dopamine hit of a new image of gear on our phones 24/7. It's always there. But we've got to get back to the fact that these are instruments. They are tools for making music. If you're a carpenter and all you're thinking about is the new saw you're gonna get and not the beautiful building that you're going to make, you got a problem. And I think that's where most of us as guitar players are today. I don't want to speak for other instruments because I'm sure the level of insanity varies from horn to horn. But for guitar players, we're really stuck on that. I love it as much as everybody else, but we've got to get back to, or maybe forward, back to the future, to what are we making? What are we doing? What's the point of this whole deal? I'm gonna make some more noise. That's gonna be that. I'm gonna turn on this here big muff and we're gonna have a good time. I love y'all. Guitars Ruin Lives. Like, subscribe, all that stuff if you're getting something out of this thing. All right, let's hear it. Guitars ruin lives. It's a national fact. Bye-bye.